Over time,
Okay.
I've been building my castle of love, the Stevie joint. And I was like, oh my God, I hope when I get to be an adult, I can love somebody like that.
There he is.
What's going on, man?
What's up, my brother? How we
You got
doing?
it. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thanks for being a part of this man-to-man movement we're doing here at Black Love Wellness Series, trying to keep it a safe space, open space, vulnerable space,
Yes.
just from a black man's perspective.
You see what
As
it is?
as
Hold on. You see what it is?
Black don't crack. I love it. I
It
love
don't. It don't. You know what I'm saying? That's intentional.
I need that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Love it. So before we jump in, just a little background on you. Actor, singer, father, creator. You got a dope thing that's happening, and I feel like that in itself is a form of wellness happening on IG every Sunday. I love it. Music, featured guests. You had our man King J Barnett on recently.
It's my guy. Good cat, man. Good cat.
Yeah, we love that brother here too. He was on Man to Man. That was a great convo. But yeah, the music of it all, where did that even begin? Because I know that's something in your background, right? Yeah, I think you got a musical interest.
I fell in love with music at 9 years old, man.
Oh, there you go.
I got the record for Over Time.
Okay.
I've been building my castle of love, the Stevie joint. And I was like, oh my God, I hope when I get to be an adult, I can love somebody like that, because he really means it. You know what I mean? It was beautiful. I'm like, oh. So I knew early that the belief in magic was going to, and the magic of creation, the magic of the experience of something that we may not have experienced yet. I knew that was going to be a part of my life, but I didn't know how. So, it's the musicality of it all. I love that vibe session we get every weekend, because, some of the people who tune in are the reason I have a job. And so to be able to answer their questions, to go live with them sometimes and play, like, there's a game we play called One Gotta Go, where they might say, it's a card game here on IG, but it might say, like, these are tough ones. Like, they might say, like, okay, Prince, Michael Jackson, Stevie Wonder, and Whitney, which is not a fair question. But
Not really.
But it's a great conversation starter. So we'll play stuff like that, and I'll randomly pick people out of the crowd, and we'll do that. I'll make them answer that very uncomfortable question. We'll take a toast to health and whatever they want to toast to, and then we'll keep it moving, and I'll pull somebody else in. But it's a chance to say thank you to the people that support me and that have helped me get here, and that will continue, that I know in my spirit will continue supporting me in the future. So I like to reconnect, because the play circuit and grassroots is really where I got, it's really where I got my start in the first place.
Sure. And from that, there's something you say, and I feel like it's a little deeper than what you just say, but correct me if I'm wrong. It could just be all, that's it. But you say, I ain't want nothing.
Yes.
you tend to drop that. And then that feels like a little something more than what you're just saying, but I'll let you be the one to tell it.
I got you. Basically where it came from, it came out of habit. Like, I'll call friends and family members and be like, hey, how the hell are you? What's going on? You good? You still above the grass? You on this side of the grass? You still breathing? You thriving over there? Okay, I ain't want nothing. Because a lot of times people will call us, and it's not necessarily a bad thing if they want something or need something, but the calls I treasure, the calls I enjoy, are when somebody's just calling to see how you are. And when they really don't want nothing, that's really where it came from. Like, hey, I ain't want nothing. I'm just checking on you, man. All right, I'll talk to you later, man. Do your thing, but I ain't want nothing. Later.
Yeah,
get off my phone. So it just came from a habit, and it just kind of grew into something bigger, which I'm happy about. I messed around and submitted a trademark for it, because we keep, it keeps happening. So when I figured, when I do a podcast, I probably want to call it that.
Yeah, well, I don't
'Cause
blame you,
I don't want
but
nothing. Yeah, I
I
ain't want
want
nothing.
it.
I ain't want nothing.
But I feel like from that, what you just said, I mean, that already, so obviously the conversations around wellness, but I feel like that in itself is something I'm hoping more people
Mhm.
did, during recent times. But I feel like men, we're not checking up on each other enough. I'm
No,
guilty of
no.
it. I'll be the first one to say I'm guilty of it. Um, but I feel like we don't do it enough, and that's why I wanted to touch upon it, because I had a feeling you had a little more to it, what you do. So, what do you do this on a normal basis? Do you find yourself reaching out to brothers, family, friends, etc., just to see what's going on? Is this a regular habit of yours?
It is, and especially like I'm still. What's crazy is there's a reason why I'm still learning how to be a friend.
Hmm.
You, if you, I went to six elementary schools, seven middle schools, seven high schools. Every 6 or 9 months, I was moving to a different foster home, and it's difficult to learn how to become a friend, how to be a friend, and how to be unapologetically yourself in those circumstances. So it's like you're always apprehensive, you're always the new kid, you're always
Yeah.
tiptoeing, and it's uncomfortable. And so now that I'm a full-fledged adult, I'm still learning how to be a good friend. But I'll still call my friends, be like, hey, hey, how you doing? You good? All right, man. I ain't gonna talk you to death today.
Yeah.
Just I ain't gonna take up your whole Sunday, but I just wanted to check in with you. Man, make sure you still thriving over there. Make sure you still doing good. I ain't want nothing. I ain't, it's
Yeah.
it's just it's just the value of being valued to me. I think that's important.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. And like I said, I feel like men, black men, on some level, we have the little
Yeah,
something to it,
yeah,
saying we
yeah,
saw what's going on. But I feel like on that genuine, and I'm loving that that's changing. Now I will
yeah,
say that's changing, and I love that it's changing. Brothers like you, Jay Barnett, I
yeah.
brought up at the top, others, and more that's becoming a part of our conversation. And I feel like, black men in particular, men of color, people of color for that matter, it doesn't matter man or woman, but I feel like men in particular and black men, we put up this extra guard because of all the things, all the circumstances. And, you kind of touched upon a little bit of your background. And again, I'm always going to be sensitive to someone's personal background. I don't
Yeah.
want to dig and jump into something
No,
if you don't
listen,
want to
I'm
share it.
the reason I brought it up is because it put it like this. When you forgive people for doing that thing, and Jay and I were talking about this last night, it's not a one a day pill you take, or you take one pill and it's miraculously forgiven.
Hmm.
When you forgive somebody, we're just saying that okay, you know what? I'm signing up. Put me on the list for that person that's going to fight this off every time it comes back up, because I've decided that I've forgiven it. It's a process that you
Hmm.
willingly, aggressively, intentionally sign up for. And when those things come back, when those feelings come back up, you're like, we processed that already. I already dealt with that.
Yeah.
I forgave them. I forgave me. I accept the responsibility for the things that I could have done better in this situation. I didn't understand all their circumstances. I'm not digging that back up. That's forgiven. That's been processed, and that's buried. I'm not digging that up. I'm not going to search for ghosts, because when you do, you find them. So I think that's a huge process of that, and I think that that's helped me a lot in life, because it frees up. Now that I've put a lot of that stuff down, now I'm free to create. Now I'm free
Yeah.
to write shows. We just shot my first show. I'm free to write. I'm free to write films and books, and to connect and take time out and try to help inspire other creatives out there in the world, with my experiences. And I don't charge them for that stuff. I just be like, hey, listen, this is my experience. If you got a question, ask it. If we're on Clubhouse, and they're like, hey, so as a writer, this, that, and the other, I don't need to charge you for that. Nobody,
Mm.
I paid for it at the University of Barnes and Noble. I went and got the books. I'm still reading. I try to get in at least a book a week. But I love to share those experiences, because I feel like that's my opportunity to help share and help give back. And that's the beauty of it, and that's the joy in it. And joy beats resentment. Joy beats guilt and shame. Joy beats animosity and ghosts every time. Every time.
Yeah. No, I feel you. Joy and love. That's something I always
Yeah.
come back to.
Yeah.
That's it. Once you can reach that, once you can feel that, that's it. But to get to that point, I mean, have you done something I always ask? Have you done any therapy, like besides reading, besides some of life experiences? How did you get to this point? And I know, all of us, we are all students in life. So we're
Mm-hmm.
always learning. I always say that we're always learning and hopefully evolving and learning from it. But
Right.
in your particular case, was it therapy? Was there somebody in particular that you looked up to? Like what are the things that started to get you into this place to be able to say that?
I think it was a combination of both. When
Okay.
you're a foster kid, in most cases, when you're the ward of the state, in most cases, you have a mandatory 1 hour of therapy a week.
Oh.
If you're problematic,
Mhm.
acting out, have anger issues because of prior abuses and beatings and child abuse and what have you, then sometimes they'll require you to go twice a week. I went through both phases.
Okay.
Because after 6 years of being beaten and then Child Protective Services not believing that we were getting beat with the hammer and the cutting board and the bat and the axe handle and the broomstick and the belt buckle and the scalding hot showers and the freezing cold showers and standing outside naked in the snow in January in Michigan at 9 years old. Nothing that I could do as a 9-year-old would merit that. Nothing.
Yeah. Right.
And so that when I was younger, I was angry and vengeful because nobody listened to me for years, and it felt like I was not heard. And it was a very frustrating thing. And thankfully for that therapy, eventually I resented it at first, but eventually I started talking about some of that stuff. And I started talking about, like how I viewed myself and that I didn't value myself, unfortunately, and that these things made it difficult for me to value myself. It definitely, when you go through something like that, it definitely chips away at your self-esteem, especially as a child.
Absolutely.
I haven't built who I am, so I don't know who I am. And you're already telling me that at 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 through 16, 17, 18, when I finally got adopted again for the second time, you're telling me that I'm not valuable enough to fight for. And that stuff was painful. That stuff, it hurt like hell. But I started listening in some of the therapy sessions, and they would ask questions, and I'd get home and I'd ask myself, like, okay, what's my real answer? I didn't answer him because I didn't like the guy. I didn't like the guy because I didn't want to be in therapy. I'm like, oh,
Sure.
forget y'all. Y'all didn't listen to me when she was beating my ass. Why should I talk to you now? When I started viewing some of that stuff through the lens of less anger and more, maybe this can help me, then I started to understand a little bit more. Okay, I'm still angry because they didn't help me. I'm still angry because my birth mother and father never came back for me. I'm still angry. Little did I know, we'll get back to that, but my birth father drove an ice cream truck, and a powder blue one, and he would come through my neighborhood trying to see us. But my first adopted parent, she didn't want him to see us, so she wouldn't let him see us. I didn't know he passed through there. I found that out during the pandemic, when his niece found me on Instagram, and we reconnected and talked for the first time in 35 years. Wow. So yeah, so like I didn't know, but I do remember seeing his truck. I do remember him stopping by. I do remember him giving us free ice cream. I do remember Mrs. Keys being like, "Don't talk to him." I do remember him popping up a few times. I didn't know all the circumstances. So looking at things with fresh eyes and a fresh perspective and fresh forgiveness and less resentment helped me heal. It helped me set a lot of that shit down and a lot of that anger down. And the best thing I ever did was pray for everybody I felt like harmed me, because it helped me forgive them.
I was going to say that, I mean, firstly, everything you just said up until this point, all that you went through to even get to that point, I don't know how many people would have done that. So I commend you. First, I know, I feel you on that. I feel you on that, brother. Because whew,
I'll tell you
just,
my I'll tell you my first I'll tell you one experience that shaped my childhood that I'll never forget. I was 8. We had went outside and had a snowball fight. You know, me and my brother and some neighbors. It was two brothers, Rashid and Roro lived down the street, and they were bigger than us, like a couple years older. But snowballs don't, you know, that don't matter because we was killing them. So, you know, we came back in the house afterwards, forgot to hang up our coats, got up the next day, and it's either like winter vacation or spring break or something. But we didn't have to go to school the next day, but it was a weekday.
mhm.
And she barges in with the skinny yellow wiffle ball bat, the fat red wiffle ball bat, and snatches the cover off and started beating on my brother about not hanging up our coats. He jumps up, runs out the hall, out the room, down the hallway, downstairs, and goes to hang up his coat. She maneuvers over to my bed because mine was back in the room in the corner. Bap, 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 bap. And I'm like, okay. I run downstairs, get it. My brother takes the second to the last coat hanger, the metal one. There's one left. She already had it unraveled. It was already unraveled,
Mhm.
leaning against the wall. And I'm looking around, and I'm running around, and I'm looking. I can't find one. And I see it as she's lumbering down the stairs. And I'm like, oh, shit. And I know what's going to happen. So she sets the bats down, and grabs it. And when a metal coat hanger hits you, it's cold. It doesn't register as pain right away. To me, it didn't. It registers as cold. It was cold, like it was frozen. I'm running around the basement. I'm 8.
Mhm.
8. Running around the basement trying to get away from her. She was a heavier set woman. She was like 5'1", 178 pounds. Finally, I got her a little tired, and I was able to run past her and run up the stairs. I went and hid under my bed. I'm 8. That's the safe place.
Of course.
It's where you hide from monsters. She came. She started swinging a hammer and a bat underneath the bed at
Yeah.
me for not hanging up my coat. I switch positions and crawl out the bottom of the bed and run to the kitchen and go hide underneath the kitchen table. And we had that, it was 1985. So it was like that. We had that long vinyl tablecloth that went all the way to the floor.
Yeah. Yeah.
The old school joint.
Mm-hmm.
It was almost bulletproof. And so I'm hiding under there, hoping that she doesn't, I'm like, okay. Hopefully this is over. She'll just let it go. It's a coat. It's in my job description as an 8-year-old. I'm supposed to forget to hang up my coat.
Right. Right.
Bang! And she had swung the hammer underneath the table and hit me on the left side of my head. And so I'm gathering myself and catching the blood that's falling into my hands and praying like, God, okay, it was a coat. Like, I don't deserve this. It was a coat. I made a mistake. Like, please let this stop. Please, dear God, let this stop. And the door, and I was afraid she was going to swing again, so I didn't know what to do. The door, there was a knock on her door. It was my aunt. She was dropping off my cousin. And she pulled me from underneath there, told me to go clean up, told me I better not say nothing. That was the first time that was the first of probably 100 vicious beatings. And still I'm grateful to God to be able to find the strength to pray for her forgiveness, because that's the only way I was able to heal. I had to lay down in the floor of the first apartment that I rented when I got to LA 15 years ago. But I prayed for her. I was like, God, I don't know what she went through. I'm sure she was, I found out later she was beat like this. And she thought that was the thing. But it's like, I forgot to hang up a coat.
Yeah.
I'm 8. I didn't stab you. I didn't a hammer. And that was my first experience with the type of abuse she was going to do over the next 4 years, from 8 to 12. And so I was a professional runaway by 9. Well, no, I started running away at 9. I was a professional by 10. But yeah, we either decide, like, yes, that stuff is still heavy, but we either decide that either I'm going to take control over that thing and take power over that, or it's going to take power over us. And we have to. I had to. I still had anger. I still had resentment. I still had tension that I carried. Now,
Sure.
it helped. But what really felt good was when I tried to call her, tried to track her down and tell her that I forgave her. Unfortunately, I had found out she had already passed. She gave up her adoption rights to me when I was 12 because we were pressing charges. We went to court, and in the hallway, she looked at me and she's like, I'm going to sign away my adoption rights, so you'll never have to see me again. She kept my brother, though. She took my blood brother with her to Phoenix. So I didn't see him for the next 10 or 12 years. But she said, you'll see, you're going to be just like me. And I'm like, no, Marguerite, I will never be anything like you, ever. And yeah, it was the forgiveness for me. Therapy helped me understand how to put together my forgiveness process. And everybody's is different. Whether you're in a relationship, hopefully it's not toxic or abusive, but even if it is toxic and abusive, you still need to forgive them so you can get strong enough to get out of it.
Right.
And hopefully that's a before thing, but if it's an after thing, it's an after thing, but it still needs to happen. It still needs to be part of the process. We still got to do that. That's for us. I forgave Mrs. Keys for me. I forgave my birth parents because I felt they abandoned me. For me, I did that for me. I needed that. So I could fly and I could do the things that God has for me to do. And I could create and be on this show or do that movie and do all this other great stuff and give back and go talk to foster kids, group home kids, detention center kids, help feed the homeless and dress the homeless, all of that good stuff. So that forgiveness thing is for us. And I'm glad platforms like you and like our brother Jay, we're continuing that conversation to where it's okay to say as a Black man, and we were talking about it yesterday, that, hey, I'm not okay.
Yeah.
When I saw George Floyd die, I cried. I randomly, and I can't think about it too long because I'll cry now. That messed me up as a human being. And it's okay to say that I'm not okay as a Black man when I leave my place and police pass. Yeah, I might be on that show or that show, but to some of them, excuse my French, I'm still just another nigga. I'm just that. And that's unfortunate. And we got to change that. And we also, as Black men, we got to have these discussions where it is okay to be like, man, I'm under pressure. I got to provide for my family. I got to set a good example. I have to break these generational curses that were inflicted upon me. I have to set a better example and do better for my son and my future daughter. So that way, if I have any more kids, that way I can set a better example and then they can continue to keep upgrading every single thing. So I think that's the essential ingredient in my healing was forgiving those people and forgiving myself and not blaming myself anymore for any of that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, one, again, thank you for sharing because you went there. And I'm glad you share that with me. I'm glad you share that with everyone watching and listening, because I think from that, if you can't put that in perspective, look, everyone has their own experiences, but I feel like hearing these sort of experiences really put things in perspective, and to come from and out of that, to be able to forgive, to be able to move on, to get to that place of self-love, because I think once you can get there, that's when you can start to do some of the things you also mentioned. And you also mentioning you're a single, you're a father. So now coming into that space, from all that experience to coming to this place of forgiveness, to coming to this place of self-love, and now you have a son that you're raising and now you can instill these things,
Yeah.
and not only the son, but then, everybody else that you meet and
Yeah.
everything else that you move forward with. I mean, that's, again, beautiful. And I'm very, very glad you were able to share that.
Thank you.
Um, yeah, because like I said, that takes a lot. This is the conversation that I want to be normal. Like,
Yeah.
just like you were saying when you cried, with George Floyd. I mean, I cried with one of the bosses here when at Black Love when we were going through it. I couldn't hold back. He asked,
Yeah.
"How are you doing?" And most of the time, "Oh, I'm good. I'm good." Like I said, like we said at the top of this, it's like, you just hold up this facade.
Yeah.
I broke down, and
Yeah.
I was whimpering. Here I never thought. I thought we were progressing, and then it felt like a regression. It felt
Yeah.
like, oh my God, now
Felt
what?
like the 60s all over again.
All over again. I mean, that's what I call it, just
Oh.
civil rights 2.0, because here we go again. We thought we were good, kind of lulled to sleep during the Obama era, and yeah, just got to keep on keeping on. But yeah, I think all of this is part of it, where these conversations need to be normal. These
Yeah.
feelings and expressing feelings man
It's
to
got to be
man.
okay. But
Yeah,
I think coming up in the era that I came up in, this was frowned upon. We weren't
yeah,
allowed to
yeah.
be vulnerable when
Nope.
in reality, creating men that are just creating. If I'm tough all the time and I never express anything, then my children don't know how I really feel.
Right.
Then I love that I was able to be transparent about my son and his face when I was telling him the stories that I went through, and we cried together a couple times about it, because he was like, and he tried to fight it, and I'd be like, it's okay, let it go. It's
Yeah,
me. It's me.
yeah.
You don't have to do what I did. You don't have to pretend to not be affected by this. It's okay to feel that,
Mm-hmm.
and then set it down.
Mm-hmm.
And normalizing these things, and sewing back into to men of color. I don't like the word minorities anymore. I was at a
I,
I was
I'm
at
with
yeah,
you on that.
we don't do that because
Mm-mm.
ain't nothing minor about us. Nothing. And we gonna lead that. That's in 2020, and we gonna lead that there. I was somewhere, and a woman told me this like 4 years ago. 3 years ago, we were doing a press tour for In Contempt, where I got to play an attorney, address a lot of civil rights issues and shady police dealings and police brutality and all that. And I love that one. I wish that would have kept going, but we were in some city, and I said minorities, and a lady was like, baby, ain't nothing minor about us. We don't call us minorities. And I was like, ma'am, you are absolutely right. I will do my best never to say that again. There's nothing minor about us, but people of color, men of color, the more we can help clearly redirect the energy to where women feel more appreciated, women feel more recognized. Your everyday, hardworking, grind it out, hold it all together woman is appreciated and celebrated on a regular basis, and doesn't feel like she has to get butt surgery to be sexy. Doesn't feel like she has to get different additions to be attractive. Doesn't feel like she's got to be lighter or darker to be. She can wear her own skin and own her own shit and feel magnificent in it. And these conversations help that as well, because healthy men can help reaffirm and remind women, not necessarily heal. That's a woman's job to heal
That's it.
herself. But a healthy man can remind her, hey, you're already great. You winning. And I'm winning because I'm with you. Now, what is it that you really need to say? What is it that you really need from me right here in this moment? Those are adult conversations that we need to start having. And it starts with talks like this, because that transparency, that freedom of communication. And if it's not happening, I question the health of it.
Mm. I'm I'm with you 100% on that. So let me ask you this. Another thing I bring up on these talks, routines.
Mm-hmm.
So making things like this regular, but beyond the conversation, there are other things we all have to do as people, as men, as black men, as men of color, to sustain, to evolve, to progress?
Mm-hmm.
What are things that you feel like you do on a daily basis that keeps that mind, body, soul, spirit all in line as you move forward day to day? Because I know some people have that morning routine. I have a
Mm-hmm.
morning routine. Some people just have certain things. I got to do this, or my day is just not right.
I have a few things. I have my 11:11. I know it's not mine, but my 11:11 is every time I see it, I have an additional conversation. Like before my feet
Hmm.
hit the ground in the morning, I'm like, thank you, Heavenly Father, for another day of life. Thank you for guiding and protecting me as only you can. And I talk about, the things that I want to say to Him at the top of every day. That's that. And don't be fooled. I ain't nobody saying I ain't got no halo up here. I am a cussing Christian. But God, understand, we have an understanding, and we have a relationship. To me, it's not about a religion. It's about a relationship. There's more judgment
Mm,
in the
thank you.
religion of it,
Mm-hmm.
and there's more love and acceptance in the understanding of the relationship. Okay,
Yep.
that's your thing. You love a little. That's you like. Okay, cool. Congratulations. That's not my business. You decent to me as a human being? Bet I can rock with you. That's that relationship spilling over into your relationships. I do my affirmations. I have like 8, 10, 12 things that I'll remind myself of in the morning. And then my 11:11, just an additional, hey, Heavenly Father, I saw it was 11:11, just, I appreciate this extra time to commune with you, to connect with you, just to thank you again, just for no other reason than, some of the stuff you're doing in my life right now, I may not deserve, and you do it anyways. So thank you for the things you're going to do. Thank you for the things you've already done that I don't even know about. Thank you for the things that I do know about. And just, little stuff like that, it helps keep me connected and keep me grounded. So when somebody cutting you off or flipping you off in traffic, you don't follow them home. You're like, okay,
Right.
you're a dummy, and I'm not gonna cut up. I'm not doing that. And I prayed already 4 times a day or 3 times a day. I'm not, just things like that help me. A consistent exercise regimen helps me. But like Hill
Yeah.
Harper said, my frat brother, love him, man. Great cat. We were at the stairs, the Santa Monica stairs, a few years back, and I'm going ham. Like I'm up and down there with the kettlebells, and I'm doing push-ups at the top and pull-ups at the bottom. And he was like, Frat, make sure you taking care of your spiritual and your intellectual as well. He said, because it's not gonna benefit you to be in the best shape in the world, and you're neglecting your intellectual and your spiritual.
Yeah.
And it felt like a smart car had hit me, because I was like, oh, wait a minute. That's a whole sermon right there. But he was right.
Yeah.
And he was
Yep.
dead on. So and at that, and this was a few years back. So at that point, I made it a promise to again make sure that connection was right, and that my connection with my intellect, that I continue to try to feed words, some fiction, some, self betterment, some spiritual stuff, some entertainment stuff, but continue to read, because that way, when I'm trying to express myself, that's another thing. That's a big key. When we read more, there's an availability of vocabulary for me to be able to tell you exactly how I feel.
Mm.
If I don't have the words, because I'm not reading enough. Instagram doesn't count. That's not reading. Reading quotes on
Let them
Instagram
know. Let
does
them know.
not count as reading.
Yeah.
No. When I want to express what I need to say to a particular person, if I'm reaching and there's big gaps in what I'm trying to say, I'm not reading enough. The words should be available to me. It should be a trough of, it should be a big basket, a Tupperware, big thing of, the thing you put your laundry in, whatever that, a laundry bag full of,
Laundry
it
basket. There
should
we
be,
go.
so yeah, a big laundry basket full of words for every single thing I want to say. And just little things like that help me on the day-to-day basis. They help my routine to keep, especially during this pandemic, to keep my peace, to keep that even kill flow thing.
Hmm.
And then I try to treat victory and defeat both the same. There's a poem that says, if you can treat these two imposters both the same, if you can treat victory and defeat just the same, they are temporary states of being. So,
Yep.
you know, I try not to get too down if I get disappointed, or if I don't get a role, or if I, you know, if something goes a little haywire, and I try not to get too high and celebrate and get too cocky. I'm appreciative, and then I take the lessons out of the less than wonderful situation, but I try not to go overboard in either direction, because it's a temporary state of being. I try to receive them in stride and keep it going. Like, okay, what is this step back or setback teaching me? What is this going to teach me? What's this about, big fella? What's this? You got something cooking. So what's this thing that you need to remind me of or want to teach me with this? Those things help me keep going, stay focused, stay humble, stay hungry, and keep my eyes on the prize, and making time to give back and share. And because I know these stories, there's a lot of people that have been abused, and a lot of people write me like, yo, your story helped me, you know, your transparency helped me not commit suicide. I can't front. I teared up on that one. On that message. Another one, my song "I'm All Right." A young brother told me that again, another time, that he was thinking about ending it, and he said, "Man, your song helped me not do it." And I didn't know how to respond, so it took a minute. Another woman told me that her mom had passed from cancer, but the last month that she was here, "I'm All Right" was her favorite song because it helped her get through it. So I'm hurting for that young lady's loss, but that reminds me that I'm in my purpose. I'm right where I'm supposed to be, and I want to be in the air. I want to focus on the areas of my life that God's blessing, and not get distracted.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love all of it, because I feel all three areas have to be fed for that balance. And I feel like, again, it just comes back to this self-love. You can't, this is my personal thing, but I feel like you can't love anyone until you love yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You can't, and this, this goes beyond, the simple self-care spa Sundays. It's a deep, until you
come on, spa Sunday.
They're beautiful when you can have them, but I don't have them that often these days. I have a 2.5-year-old daughter, so those fallen by the wayside. But when I do, appreciate it. But again, but just the overall balances, just the overall self-care is when you can get into a relationship as a father with your child, when you can get into a relationship with, in my case, my wife, or your case,
my eventual wife. I got friends that be like, "Are you sure?" Because my son graduated high school last Monday.
Oh, okay.
So he's out. He's out of there.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get him to pick a college and send some applications, and we adulting over here, full-fledged adulting. Okay. I would like to get married, and I would like to, for lack of a better word, shoot the club up one more time and maybe have a daughter. But
shoot the club.
Shoot the club up. Shoot the club up. Shoot the club. But after I get on that other side of that broom, then then more posterity. I feel like my next child is going to be a daughter. But that's after the marriage, if that ever happens. So we'll see. But that's the goal. The name of your page is the goal. I love love in general, but because it's not celebrated enough, I really, really love Black love. I love seeing pictures of it. I love seeing moments of it. I love seeing our former president, Barack, with the former first lady, Michelle, and that's I was adopted twice. My second adopted mom, who's my mom now, that's her name, is Michelle. So So I really love Michelle Obama. But I love seeing Black love. I love celebrating that. I love believing in that and the magic of it.
Well, you might, you speak into the right audience right now, so you might, you might have that energy popping up before you know it. Might be shooting up that club sooner than you think.
It's gonna be a ceremony first, man. I need
okay.
I need a reverend. and the
Mhm.
ring and some groomsmen, some bridesmaids, and all of that first. We gotta, it's gotta be the right. I'm only doing it once. I've never been married. I've been married
Okay.
in TV and film like three
Sure.
or four times, 4 or 5 times. But a couple of them I actually was at the wedding. We filmed, my character was getting married. I'm sweating bullets. They like, Keys, you're not really getting married. I'm like, shut up, it's my big day. But in real life, I've never been there. I was engaged before once, and she kind of got cold feet with the
Hmm.
finality of everything, and gave the ring back, and I hope she's doing
Wow.
amazing, but clearly that wasn't supposed to be my wife.
Clearly,
So,
yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. So that, I mean, that's a blessing.
yes. Thank you, Jesus.
So you're just, so right now, so on a relationship level, it's just you're open, you're looking, but
I'm open, but I'm not actively looking. Like if a great situation should happen to fall in my lap, then I am open to that. And like I said, you never know. You don't know if your
no.
person is somebody that you already know, which
Hmm.
would be
Hmm.
wonderful, and then it's revealed, and y'all just kind of lean into it and make it magic, or if it's or if it's not. But either way, I like to take my time, make sure things are right. Um, I don't love getting to know new people. Dating in LA sucks, because you never know what they're here for. You never know if
Yeah, yeah,
they want you for the fantasy of because you're on their TV, or if they really are into you, and
yeah.
that's the sketchy, scary thing for me sometimes. It's like you meet amazing people, and it's like, and then my schedule is crazy. So I'll be filming in Toronto for 2 or 3 months sometimes, and then in Atlanta for 3 months or 2 months, and then back home filming something else over here. And then sometimes, like most of the pandemic, I was right here at the island in my kitchen
Hmm.
writing episodes for my new show. And some people can't understand that, hey, I'd love to go hike today, or I'd love to go do this, but I have to write. They loved my pilot, which is
Hmm.
rare, as a Black content creator. They were like, hey, it's the pandemic. Why don't you write the entire series? I was like, whoa, don't threaten me with a good time. So, at that point, it's a lot of responsibility, a lot of pressure, a lot of stress, but I felt like I could handle it. But that
Hmm.
also means that I got 6 or 8 hours a day right here.
Here. Yep.
Yeah. And,
Yep.
and, and my, unfortunately, an amazing sister, she couldn't understand some of that. It was like, yo, this could be one of the biggest professional blessings of my life, the hardest I've ever had to do, but also, this could be a real thing. Like this could go.
Yeah.
And my show comes out this spring. So it's the dating thing is tough. I don't put a lot of pressure on it, and it's not a huge priority. I'm about a connection, a real connection with a woman. If you get me here, if you can teach me things, that's sexy.
Hmm.
Because I clearly you don't want anybody around you that's not more experienced in a certain area, or that can't teach you or make you question some of your beliefs, some of your
Yeah. Yeah.
ideals about things. Not him. I can't date an atheist. I walked away. I met an atheist a couple years ago. She was like, "Yeah, such and such and such. Your name is Christian. You don't believe in God, do you? Because I'm an atheist." I was like, "Yeah, here I come." And I was out of there. I was like, "Yeah, we ain't got nothing else to talk about. I
Yeah.
believe in him, so we can't date at all. We can be cool. I'll give you a church hug when I see you, but I can't date you if you're an atheist." So
I feel
it'll
that. I
happen.
feel.
It'll happen.
Yeah.
It'll happen.
Yeah. I think as long as you're allowing, it'll happen. Like
Yeah,
you said,
it'll happen.
I feel like everything else is being done right just from
Hmm.
this conversation, just your whole being right now. I feel like you've set yourself up to be the Christian Keys for whomever may step into your energy.
Yeah.
And that woman will come when she comes, when
Yeah, and like I
when
said,
you
you
allow
never
it.
know. You may
You
already,
never know.
know that person. So it's you never know, and I'm optimistic. I am a hopeful romantic instead of hopeless.
Yeah.
So I'm an optimistic romantic. I like that stuff, man. My
Yeah.
love languages are nap dates and food and tacos and music and honest communication, man, and just transparency. Hey, listen, I have an issue with this. I can say, hey, I've had trust issues before. Not so much now anymore, but there's power in me being able to declare certain things that you're not going to have to wonder, hey, I wonder if he has trust issues. Yes, I've had them before. I do better now
Yeah.
because I'm aware of it. And when you can let your person know, as a man, when you can let your woman know, hey, I've had issues with this before, she can help you watch out for that from a helpful place. It's when they use those declarations against you that is hurtful.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, you ain't never gonna trust me anyway because you got trust issues. It's like, oh, I knew I should have never told your ass. Then it's that. So it's if you
Yeah.
want to have
Yeah.
that transparent communication with somebody in a healthy space.
I feel that, brother. I feel that. This was amazing conversation. We laughed, we cried, we I appreciate you for sharing all the things. I appreciate you for sharing your love language. That was a
Oh
that
yeah,
was a new
music,
set.
music, tacos, food, nap dates, and honest community and peace. Peace
Oh
is
God,
a
Lord
love
knows.
language.
Oh my God.
If you are
Yes.
at war with
Yes.
yourself, please don't come interrupt my peace. Don't come
Yes.
disturb my peace. Finish your conquer whatever you at war about, and then we can talk. But yeah, I need my peace. I'm battling
Mm.
the world, and then to come home, I need my woman to be my place of peace.
I'm with you on that, brother. That is with that. This is a great conversation. Many blessings. Again, thank you for all that you shared, for your openness, vulnerability. I really want this to continue to be the platform for this. So I'm glad you are yet another man that stepped into this man-to-man series. I feel like, and I hope everybody else connected with you on a deeper level.
I hope so as well. I enjoy being transparent.
Yeah, well, I felt it and I appreciate it. And I look for continuing this dialogue. I definitely want to pick this up again.
Already,
And
you know
maybe,
what? When right around May, when the show comes out, I can't even say the
oh, there we
name of
go.
it yet.
There we
But right around May, mid to late May, the show airs. They're gonna drop the whole joint streaming, the whole first season. So I'd say that's
making
a
a note
perfect
of it.
time. Yeah, let's go ahead and pull on up. I think in another couple weeks they're gonna put a press release out, so I'll be able to talk about it more. But right before or close to, let's do this again.
Absolutely. Black Love Family. He said it. Look forward to it mid-May.
Hold me
My
to it.
brother, Christian Keys.